Okay, who are you and what do you do and where are you from?
Sure.
This would be the
Great place to start. Who are you? So I'm Kevin Sheely, and I lead the Ocala Metro, and I can't even get the name right. Sorry, the Ocala Metro Chamber and Economic Partnership. We are the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development organization for the community. I've been here 8 years. I am a career Chamber Economic Development leader, and I'm originally, as you can probably hear, from Kentucky.
Yeah, you can hear it a little bit. Kentucky,
and
Tennessee.
always
Yeah.
worked in Kentucky or Tennessee until I came here 8 years ago.
You have, this seems to have grown since last time I was here.
And there's a much larger shelf of trophies. We laugh now about building the trophy room here at the CEP.
It's probably accurate. It probably
and so
is.
These are
they just keep multiplying. Yeah.
In fact, there's some over there. What's been really exciting is in the last year we've picked up 5 major awards, including the one we're most proud of, which is being the National Chamber of the Year, as awarded by ACCE.
How many chambers compete in that? Just to give us a little bit of scope.
So they give.
Not in the world.
So there are 1,300 chambers that are a part of ACCE. We compete in 4 categories. We're considered a Category 3, a major city chamber. So that's communities of 250 to 500,000.
Okay.
What I think is most exciting about that is every year Category 3 is considered the most competitive.
Wow.
To win Chamber of the Year in the most competitive category is, it's very exciting. And I just told a group today, we love all the awards, not because we won a trophy room, we do, but because it is national recognition.
It is.
That, yes, we're doing things differently here, but we're doing things differently that work.
Yes.
And so that's really rewarding. And it's about our community. It really is their awards for Ocala that we just get to house here.
I have so many people ask me, like, what happened? Like, all of a sudden, Ocala is on the map. And it seems like, it's just all of a sudden. Obviously, it's been almost 10 years of incredibly hard, backbreaking work on the part of you and your team. But I think you have a lot to do with getting those relationships started, and that's the difference.
I will tell you, so the part of the recognition is, I think the key is how the CEP was formed. And that really was instrumental. The CEP, our roots date back to 1887, but our current iteration happened in 2012 when the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Council here were merged.
Right.
And it happened because business leaders said, look, we need to have a singular voice of the business community. We need to have an entity by which we can partner with local government, partner with schools, and really focus on driving growth in our community.
That was very different. I've never heard of something like that happening.
And I tell you, they really, the business community made it happen. They really risk a lot. To know the story is to realize how much some of them risk to make it happen. But
Really?
They just believe that was key for this community.
They
were willing to say, because lots of chamber economic development mergers happen every year. I get calls probably once a month, hey, can you come consult with our community? And I'm always happy to do that. But I think what really made the difference here is they were willing to say there are no sacred cows. In fact, they said we're going to barbecue some sacred cows. So that we're going to do things that make sense to do it, that's going to grow our community today. Why keep doing something just because we've always done it? If it's not going to be beneficial, if it's not going to benefit business.
And we really felt, speaking as, somebody in the business community, it really just felt like this huge shift that it went from a town that, we were doing it because it had always been done to all of a sudden we're going to, throw all that away and we're going to do whatever makes common sense, what sounds right. And it just all of a sudden just started flowing just perfectly. It was great.
And, the challenge that they gave to me is, look, it has to be based on business. If we're going to be the organization of business, we need to be the most business-like entity. So all of our decision-making is built around the idea of return on investment, right? People who invest in business are looking for ROI. Your customers are looking for return on investment. And so how do we do that as a community? And by focusing on that, we made it much more palatable for local government to come to the table and partner. We made it much easier for our education providers to come. And then when you get everyone on the same page and doing the same thing and really committed to, hey, this is what we need to do, all of a sudden you have all of that momentum. And then one victory leads to 2, which leads to 4, which leads to 10. And then that ball really gets rolling.
It's just, it's almost like an avalanche of business coming in at this point.
So our job is, let's keep everybody between, this is where we're going. And I used to say, let's remove any barriers, and then I realized at this point, we're just going to roll over those barriers. So just don't be a barrier. Or
Yeah, you're just getting steamrolled.
Yeah.
It's heading in a really great direction, I think. A really just huge change from, in the recession, there was just absolutely nothing going on. But quite frankly, there wasn't all that much going on before the recession either.
And it became no Cala or slow
yes,
Cala.
slow Cala. Yeah, we've all heard that.
To the thing now is it's go Cala, grow Cala.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. I know another thing that some people have mentioned is, what it's like for small businesses. And I'd have to say, of all the communities I've lived in over the years, this one is the most open and receptive and supportive to small businesses. Even in the real estate community, I mean, normally you have to franchise or you get left behind and steamroll, really. And we just haven't had that. We've had amazing support. So it's kind of different.
Yeah, it's so cool to hear you say that. One of the great stats we got in the last year is that we have more entrepreneurs per capita than any other mid-sized metro in the nation.
That's amazing.
So that's communities between 250,000 and 750,000.
I think.
And I think the idea is that we encourage people to be an entrepreneur, to start their own business, to be independent. But I also think that's a reason why we can get outside the box. Because entrepreneurs are the ultimate outside the box. You're willing to do things different.
There is no box.
Yeah. So that means that we can try a new initiative. We can do things different than they've been done. Because that's who we are as a community. And what I think is so cool is I look at some of our largest employers, whether that's an E1 or a Signature Brand or Closet Made, all huge companies who were birthed here in this community. Even think about Advent Health Ocala, our largest single private sector employer. Started as a small local business. And so this idea that we've been able to grow our own very successfully really, I think, paves the way to do more of that.
I think so too. Speaking of Advent, it just seems like they're popping up all over the place. It's like mushrooms. They're just everywhere.
So what's, the healthcare sector is so exciting. We talked today to a group about, healthcare in this market isn't for this market. It's about for a region. If you live in not only in Ocala, but if you live in Citrus County or Levy County or Lake or Sumter, and even to a growing extent, Volusia and Alachua, this is a community you're coming to get health care. So that regional pool is so exciting. And so our three big hospitals keep adding more facilities, more services, more beds. Where nationally we're seeing hospitals actually consolidating, ours are expanding. So much so that in the last few years, our three main hospitals have invested over $500 million in new programs, and new services, and new facilities. And so while each of their main campuses are growing, you've got Advent, we've got 2 back-to-back ribbon cuttings coming for new facilities. And then they were just telling me today we're getting ready to do a groundbreaking on a really cool new facility they're doing. I'm doing about a ribbon cutting or groundbreaking every month for the Ocala Health System.
Wow.
So all these exciting new things. And that just, we love healthcare jobs. If it improves the healthcare in our community and I don't have to leave here, then that makes this a better place to live.
Yeah.
And now how do we build all the other support healthcare businesses around that?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen, I mentioned Advent, but you're right. There's, the VA clinic that's coming in. That's a huge. It looks like a hospital to me. It's really big, big place.
It's so funny. The clinic, it's 60,000 square feet. That's
clinic sounds like like a one room, maybe a semi-retired doctor, and then we see this massive building come up, and I'm like, I don't think that's there. Is there another word we could use?
I don't know. Facility.
Facility or something. Center maybe. Because it's not quite a hospital, but it seems a lot more than a clinic. And then of course we have UF and Shands. It's just so much with the healthcare. But so is that our largest employer? Who is our largest
so the
employer?
Healthcare sector is our largest employer. It's our largest employer. They pay, not surprisingly, the highest average wages. And for our government partners, they pay some of the largest taxes.
Okay, well then we appreciate them very much. There seems to be another sector that also pays quite a few taxes and helps us out with our community, which is the equine division. So
we are the horse capital of the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's not just our slogan. That's a trademarked named by the Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association, and it's able to be trademarked because it has been gone to court and verified that we are the
Really,
horse
I gotta be
capital.
careful not to put that on any
Yes,
of the.
make sure you put.
on
They're happy for you to use it
you
to
all won't
market.
see it, yeah.
But yeah, because we have more horses than any other community in the U.S. More than
Really? In the U.S.
In the U.S., more than the next two communities combined.
Okay.
We have more variety of breeds than can be found in any other place in the world. No place else has more than 60 breeds, which we have.
Wow. That is crazy.
So that's kind of the basis, but the other piece is the value of that. And so we commissioned an economic impact analysis in 2015. What's it mean to be the horse capital of the world?
Yeah.
Equine contributes $2.6 billion a year, that's billion with a B, to the local economy.
We really like
huge.
our horse.
We love our horses. We love the dollars that they spend.
And that
right
was
there.
before World Equestrian Center.
And
That was
so,
way before
yeah,
World
so my
Equestrian
thing
Center.
is we were going to redo the study this year.
Yeah.
And we're going to hold off a couple years because
Yeah.
the new amazing, phenomenal World Equestrian Center has opened.
Right.
And
So,
what that's going
totally
to do
different.
from an equine tourism standpoint is just, and who it's bringing to our community and the people that are here, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't say prior to this. I mean, of course, maybe back in the 60s or something, we were a tourism spot. But I don't really think that's been the case for decades now. But now we're actually going to be a place for a very select type of tourism.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
equine
what I
drama.
think is so excited is the World Equestrian Center obviously is going to be huge. It allows equine competition to be a 12-month a year.
Right.
But the key thing to know with this World Equestrian Center, the hotels, the restaurants, the 1 million square feet of air-conditioned event space, is it's a giant convention center.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be, I already know, trade shows and meetings and other events and sport
I
competitions.
think all the high schools had their graduations up there this year.
The national or the state marching band competition is going to be there in the fall, and
Wow.
we've got companies who are planning trade shows in the expo halls, and there's just all kinds. I mean, it's going to drive additional tourism, and so you have everything that's going to happen there, and they can be running multiple events, multiple events at one time.
Yeah.
And then the really neat jewel that we don't talk enough about is FAST, the Florida Aquatic Swimming and Training Facility that's being built at Calessa.
It's kind of getting left behind off the lot, but it's just so much coming in. Yeah.
And it's a $30 million athletic competition facility.
Wow.
Per USA Swimming, there's not another facility like it in the eastern U.S. And they tell us it can host anything up to and including the Olympic trials. So think, 4 years from now, when we're getting ready for the Olympics, you may be watching the Olympic trials coming from Ocala.
That is so bizarre.
Isn't that the coolest thing?
That is crazy. And I mean, okay, so my daughter was on the swim team.
Okay.
She finally was like, Mom, please, I'm done. I'm like, okay, do something else, whatever. But she was on it for a few years, and, going to some of the it was, of course, a traveling team. So the Marlins, we have locally. So we would go to like Orlando, we would go to Tampa, we would go to Claremont, all these areas, and they had these beautiful swimming facilities. And then, of course, it was our turn, and so people would come to ours, and yeah, I'm gonna have to say ours was a little bit embarrassing. It was it was a lot embarrassing. It was outdated, and they really, really needed to replace it at some point. And so it's just amazing that we went from that to one of the best facilities in the United States. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
That facility will open spring of next year.
Wow.
They have one of the pools, in fact, they just sent a press release out today. One of their pools is the pool was used for the Olympic trials this past week.
Wow.
They purchased it, it'll be relocated to Ocala.
Oh my goodness, really? Wow.
Then now you know.
We have an Olympic pool.
Yes. Literally, not just Olympic size, Olympic.
We had an Olympic swimmer. One of our swimmers actually on the Marlins, she actually qualified for the Olympics. So, I mean, it's awesome that the kids that have worked so hard and are working and doing that now have the facilities coming in. I mean, what are they going to be able to accomplish with all of that?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's going to be amazing.
I'm excited for our kids. I'm excited for the tourist dollars.
That too.
and I'll be honest, I think part of what we're going to see is people who relocate here so that their kids can train at that facility and be part of that complex.
Well, yeah, because here it's year round, and to have the indoor pool even on the cold nights, the few cold nights we have here, it's just going to be huge. I think that's really, so we probably should be talking about that a little bit more. I will work on that. So, so what else is going on? You were talking about, the Red Rock and all of that.
So, we need more residential growth, and we're very much for that, and obviously all that's happening in our equine community and fast and this tourism. But, in healthcare, but another big driver here is manufacturing and distribution. We are really the center of Florida. If you're going to be in Florida, you need to be in Florida, and the best place to do that is in Ocala. Mm-hmm. And so we had a groundbreaking today for Red Rock Development out of Charlotte. They previously built a 620,000 square foot spec building here that's now home to Amazon.
Yes.
They built it, and before it was done, they had it leased to Amazon, and then turned around and sold the building. They just broke ground on a new almost 1.1 million square feet of industrial spec space.
So they don't even know who they're going to lease this out or sell it to. It's just...
It's an $80+ million bet on the community. They have another 500,000 square feet that either they'll do a build to suit, or they will, as soon as this building's sold, they'll build it for the next.
So if you don't necessarily need like over 1 million square feet, you can get just a
get
small little 500,000
make it work for
square.
So what's so exciting is we should see this year, and steel is making it a little more difficult.
Everything
Several of our companies are running behind because they just can't get the steel. But we anticipate by the end of the year we'll see ground broken on 5 million square feet of new industrial spec space in our community. That's a huge number. I think when I looked at what are the top 5 communities for industrial spec, Dallas-Fort Worth is number 1. They're getting like 24 million square feet of new industrial space. As you work your way down the list, if we add in the company-owned space, so people who are building their own Dollar Trees, building a 1 million square foot expansion, look at some others, we're probably going to be around 7 million square feet of industrial space that we will add. That's probably going to put us in the top 10 markets in the nation.
That is insane.
And which is phenomenal.
It is, phenomenal. Absolutely. Okay, so that, of course, begs the question, where are they going to live?
Yeah, where are they going to live? So here's the good.
Help me out here.
Here's the good. We are seeing 425 on average single-family permits issued each month for new homes.
Oh, that's good.
That is a 42% increase over last year, 130% increase over 2019.
Wow.
Both of which were good years. In fact, we will have issued as many building permits through May as we did in all of 2019 already. So a lot of momentum. They're coming. Where they're building, and that's not slowing down. I was with city and county officials today, and we were talking about the fact is we've got to keep moving. We've got to keep building. So there's new homes that'll be coming. I think one of the other really key things is we just obviously have to add more multifamily. We're working that. We're promoting it.
And it seems weird for me to be asking for multifamily when we say multifamily, like bring in an apartment complex. Because I don't sell apartment. I mean, I'd love to sell the entire complex, but that's not generally what I do. But it's weird for me to be asking for that. But honestly, we're so far behind on the building, and it's going to take about 10 months to a year for somebody to build a custom built home. Where are they going to live in that time frame? So I want something to put them in, just temporarily before they can actually move in. And then all of these young people and the locals and stuff, that maybe they've done something to their credit and they need to work on it, or maybe they're just now getting a higher paying job, or they've switched jobs or something. There's people that are in those temporary situations for a year or two. An apartment is great. There is nothing available.
So the good is we have 25, 30 units that are now coming online downtown. You've got 100 units that were just approved that'll start moving dirt here by the end of summer. You have a new 240 unit development out on what we call a loop road, 31st, 42nd.
Oh, yeah.
The retreat at 42, which is 240 units,
Okay.
which they're moving dirt on now.
Great.
We've got a couple others that should start moving dirt here in the next couple months. So we think that by the end of the year, we'll have probably 8 developments that have started movement. Combined, that's probably about 1,600 units. which is a great start.
It is.
We need to do that again next year and probably the next year.
Yeah, we'll need to double all
But that's
that.
good, because the other thing is, we're seeing such tremendous growth.
We are.
Our population, we just got the latest estimates that run through June 30th of 2020. So they're almost up again, but we don't get the estimates till the following spring. Our population here now is 373,000. We
Wow.
grew by 2.2% again. We had over 150 people a week. So seeing really strong growth.
Yeah.
And really, one of the things we're looking at our Live Life Here campaign, where we're doing a lot of really targeted marketing to certain skill groups, so healthcare, engineers, IT, some of those key areas. And what's fascinating to me is we focused on the skills versus the location. It's kind of a change we've made, and we've had really good response this year on that. We're getting about 31 a month who are saying, hey, I want to come to Ocala.
Really?
And
That is phenomenal.
what is interesting about that is their top 5 cities that we're getting from now are New York, Miami, Boston, Chicago, and Detroit.
Okay.
Besides Miami, those have not traditionally been our areas that we got to
No.
look at new residents from. We always do well from South Florida, people who
Right.
generally it's either they've been there and they're tired of it, they're done, or people relocate thinking they're getting one thing, and then they get there and just go, wait a minute, this isn't
What
really
I wanted.
and so they move up a little bit and say, hey, I get the best of both worlds here.
Yeah.
But the picking up those 4 major metros is really fascinating to me. Another one that's in the top there is Philadelphia. We've seen a real
Wow.
uptick from that area. So I think that's all about, part of it's COVID response, part of it is, hey, where are the jobs? And this is where the jobs are. Much better tax environment, way better tax
Way
environment.
better. Yeah.
And very pro-growth environment and pretty nice climate.
Yeah. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Although I think your building hates me. Last time I came here, they were cutting the lawn, and today I pulled into the parking lot. We've had no rain for weeks,
Yeah.
and it started raining just as I was trying to come
Listen,
in.
we needed the rain.
It's like, really? It was for 5 minutes.
Yes.
I'm like, what is this? But yeah.
We'll get you an umbrella.
Always,
It'll be all
right? Always. Gotta get back to that. But, one of the things with taxes, one of the taxes that we actually love is that extra penny tax.
Yes.
We absolutely love that penny tax because everybody's like, oh, what about all the congestion, all the roads and everything? But the roads are really in great condition.
They're in
very
good condition. We need more of them.
Yes, we do need more.
And that is, so we have a local option sales tax that's an opportunity in Florida, the communities. Voters can levy to pay for specific items, including infrastructure. In 2016, our voters approved a 1% local option sales tax that pays for 60% of it goes for transportation needs and 40% for first responders, making sure that our police and fire and rescue, it pays for their equipment. So whether that's a new fire station, a police car, or life-saving equipment for our rescue personnel.
It also, provided something in their budgets then for, pay and everything increases.
So
which
because
means
they
we
were
got
able
better,
to
more experienced
reallocate
people. Yeah.
all of their general fund dollars from capital equipments, they could then go to salaries. And of course, I think we do a pretty good job. We rank in the top 10 in both the city and the county when it
Yeah.
comes to fire rescue.
which
and first
was not
responder.
the case before. I have a lot of friends that are firefighters. In fact, one of my agents, her husband is a firefighter, and there for a while, we were losing a lot of our firefighters because we weren't paying. They would come here and train essentially, and then go for a higher paying job elsewhere. So it's really great that we're really able to retain those experienced first responders
and
now.
give them the equipment and the facilities they need.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
So that sales tax was renewed again this last year, and so it generates more than $50 million a year. So you can kind of work out how that math goes.
Yeah.
A significant investment. The challenge on the transportation piece comes, it takes so long to be able to build a road,
Yes.
which is a whole other story. But
Yes.
roads that we started planning in 2016 are now starting to come under construction.
Yes.
But that's going to be really good. We're going to see that continued momentum moving forward.
Yeah, I think that Southwest 49th Avenue, they actually completed the road, but they couldn't open it for the longest time because there was a power pole that needed to be moved. and it was right there dead center of the lanes. So they were finished. The road was finished. It was just waiting on, the utility companies or whatever else, and they're all behind, of course, with all the new construction. So it's just, it's not just here, let me go and put a road here. It's all the things.
And the great thing on that road, it will run from the very southern part of the community, south of Marion Oaks, all the way to the north up to 326.
That is huge.
And
that's huge.
When it's all the way open, they anticipate average daily vehicle counts of 40,000.
Wow.
So really key road, taking a lot of local traffic off the interstate. And it should open, again, be all the way done within the next 2 years, 2.5 years.
That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. So is there anything else that you want to tell us about that's coming up? Because you're the one that knows before we do.
I tell you what's really exciting is, we've seen such great growth in distribution and manufacturing. We talk about healthcare and entrepreneurs, and obviously equine. But one of the areas I think we're going to see a lot happen the next couple of years. And we've got a project right now we should be able to announce in probably about a month.
You can go ahead and announce it.
I'll go ahead and do that now. I think we're going to see a real growth of office jobs.
Oh, okay.
This is a nice project company consolidating operations from around the southeast here, and going to be adding on top of the jobs they already had 50 additional jobs in finance, nice wage jobs, and really I think we're going to see some growth. That to me is one of the key areas. Again, we have all this industrial growth, we have all this residential growth, a lot of commercial. We've not seen the office. And so I think that is the piece. Really over the next 18, 24 months, you're going to start to see some activity.
I have had people recently ask me about tech jobs and IT and stuff like that. But once you have those office jobs in, that's where you're really going to start seeing that.
And we've got actually a really nice base of technology-related jobs. They're not concentrated in one area, which is always nice. They're over in the tech district or whatever. But there's 250 people at iGlobal, and there's 100 people here, and there's 300 over at Real Truck, and so when we begin to think about them in total, you go, wait a minute, that's pretty cool. There's quite a few here, but they're really spread out and they're in different facilities. But I think we're going to see continued growth in that.
Yeah, I think that's what confuses people a lot. Is they're like, okay, they're thinking like we have tall buildings here, but we have such a huge area. We tend to spread out, not up.
Right.
So you kind of have to change your mindset a little when it comes to, because we've got, we're definitely larger than the state of Rhode Island, but we're almost the size of Connecticut. It's a huge county.
And then you look at and you realize that between the National Forest and the farmland preservation area, we take almost half the county out of play. For development, and so we put a lot of that. Think about all that to a state or a county that large, bigger than a state, that we put so much of it in conservation that won't be developed or have very limited development. So that really means that a lot of the other growth is very concentrated. It's much more urbanized than people generally think, because again, of that 373,000 people who live in our county, 360 of them live in less than a third. So very, very condensed area in the southern portion of the county. But we still tend to go out, not up so much. So I think we're going to start seeing more.
I think we're kind of dipping over into Citrus County, going into Citrus Springs and, Denellen, and which of course I've been nagging at you for a while about because we opened a branch over there seeing where that growth was going. But going into Citrus County and also going up into Levy County with Williston and stuff, it's just kind of, we're just continuing to spread.
And I think part of that too is because there's so much traffic from those communities coming into Ocala. This is where they come to work, this is where they come for healthcare, this is where they come for entertainment, this is where they come for shopping. So it makes natural that those corridors that connect those.
It's picking up a little bit more traffic than I saw in other years. It used to be, you'd have like two cars going down the road, and now there's like 50, and it's like, what just happened? So
commuters, we love them.
Yes, we are definitely getting that. So well, I appreciate you so much coming and letting me come in here and do this in your gorgeous room with the Ocala sign up here. Who did that, by the way? That is amazing work.
Ocala Steel.
Oh, wow.
did that for us.
Yeah, it looks really cool. So
Very cool.
I'm gonna throw you on the spotlight there with that
That's
question.
okay. I
but,
can
all right.
remember, so that always helps.
Well, I appreciate it so much.
Always. So listen,
and,
is this the third time we've done this?
this is the third time. Yeah, the first time I was so nervous that I deleted a large portion of the video. I had everybody ask me like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I don't know." So it did go live, the whole thing, but then I just freaked out and deleted it. So yeah,
It was all really good stuff after that.
Yeah,
I shared all kinds of secret information. So.
it was totally, he didn't have to kill me, so it was all good. But no, I have actually gotten YouTube figured out a little bit more so now. So it's definitely really great that you do this, because yours is one of the most popular videos that we do.
So always know, if you're looking at move to the community, number one, find a great realtor.
Yes.
Which we're happy to recommend and promote here.
That's me.
But also you can reach out to the CEP at ocalascep.com, and we would love to send you relocation material so you can learn more about what makes our community tick, what the opportunities are here, and find out great ways to get a hold of our great realtors.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Always.